Hello, friend. This is Michelle Tivy with a special bulletin from your inbox last night. Normally, we'd be dropping your usual fintech and payments news, but today we've got a serious update on the crisis at the U.S. Department of the Treasury. Don't worry, the regular edition will be out tomorrow. Now, let me be clear, this reporting comes from Notes on the Crises by Nathan Tankus, one of the sharpest minds covering this situation. His work has been cited by Bloomberg, The Wire, and big names like Larry Summers and Robert Wright. I've added some context, but the facts? All Nate. And as always, I'll link to his full article. All right, let's break this down into 8 key points, but before we dive in, let's start with the big takeaway. The worst-case scenario has been avoided for now. At one point, there were serious fears that the Treasury's payment systems could completely break down because of unauthorized or incompetent modifications. That hasn't happened. We know this because so far there haven't been any major delays or cancellations of payments, except for one MCC payment, which I'll explain in a sec. But just because everything is still running doesn't mean we're in the clear. Treasury leadership is laser focused on impounding payments, and that remains a huge issue. Now, let's get into the details. Marco Alez had access to the Treasury's payment system code, but couldn't make direct changes. He was given a bureau-issued laptop and access to source code for key Treasury payment systems, PAM, SPS, and ASAP. But his work was confined to a sandbox environment, meaning he could look at the code and make changes locally, but he couldn't push them live. This is important because some early reporting made it sound like he was actively changing Treasury's real payment systems. Turns out, that's not quite the case. But don't breathe easy just yet. Even read-only access can be a huge problem. Here's the deal. You don't need full control over a system to cause chaos. Treasury's payment systems follow Congress's funding decisions, but if someone in the executive branch wants to mess with that, they don't need to rewrite the code themselves. Instead, they could simply order career civil servants to make changes, or in some cases, tweak things in a way that forces the system to follow unconstitutional directives. Bottom line, just because Alez couldn't push changes directly doesn't mean the system was safe. Treasury appears to be using BEF as systems to block spending, but calling it preventing improper payments. Normally, the Treasury has internal controls to make sure agencies don't accidentally send out incorrect or unauthorized payments. That's fine, but what's not fine? Using that system to freeze legally approved spending under the pretense of stopping improper payments. This fits a broader pattern. Previous efforts to undermine the Impoundment Control Act of 1974, which makes it illegal for the executive branch to override spending decisions made by Congress. The impoundment has escalated from blocking agency payments to blocking specific congressional appropriations. At first, the Treasury was stopping payments from entire agencies, but now they've moved to stop payments at the Treasury account code level, meaning they're targeting specific spending that they don't like, no matter which agency is spending the money. In short, someone at Treasury didn't just block general agency funds. They specifically blocked payments related to refugee assistance. Marco Ellis helped automate these impoundments. At some point after January 31, Ellis assisted in automating the manual review process of payment files. Translation? Treasury was previously stopping payments manually, but now they're moving toward automated enforcement of these blockages. No major payment failures yet, except for one MCC payment. So far, no payments have been outright canceled or delayed due to this impoundment process, except for one payment from the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCCC. If you're wondering what that is, MCC is a U.S. government agency that provides economic aid to developing countries. That means the one block payment we know about was meant for foreign aid, but we don't have details on which country or program was affected. Final thoughts. So, where does that leave us? Treasury's payment systems haven't collapsed, but the bigger concern isn't technical failure, it's the fact that payments are being blocked at a systemic level in a way that seems politically motivated and potentially unconstitutional. That's your update for today. We'll be back tomorrow with our regular edition of Your Inbox Last Night. Until then, stay informed, stay sharp, and I'll see you next time.